Muntz Stereo Tape Center in a small college town. They were a franchise that was fledgling, just getting going. They sold tape units and for home and for car, and tapes and accessories and things. Well, here I am, I'm trying to get my degree in psychology. So they hired me. Now, the owner of this small place he was kind of a rotund, short guy. And I think in retrospect, he probably hired me because I was tall. I could reach the top shelves. But he gave me a shot anyway. And my job, of course, was clean up, stock shelves, things like that. Every time a customer would come in, he would say to me, "Listen and learn." And I was amazed. This guy could take a total stranger who came walking into his place, become friends with them, find out what they need. He could aim them to the right products, sell them additional things that they needed, and they walked out the door and they were really happy. It was amazing. I was getting more psychological education from this guy than I was from college. Incredible. So I graduated, came back up here to Atlanta, and figured I'd use my degree to get a job in some big corporation handling HR and time management and all that. Well, every place I interviewed, they all said, "We'll come back when you have experience." Well, I couldn't get this retail experience out of my head. So I saw an ad for Davison's department store, which used to be here in Atlanta. It was Macy's bought them out years ago. Excuse me. They had about 7 stores at the time, spread out all over Georgia, and their main store was right down the street here. It's still there, 180 Peachtree Street. What they would do was hire college graduates and folks about that age, and they'd run them through the executive training program. And what they did was they taught us how to run a register, things like that. Then they distributed us out to the buyers. And we were assistant buyers. So I got handed to the drapery and bedspreads guy. Fortunately, he was really, really smart, really educated me on buying. My first experience of walking into this building was back then. This was in the 70s. I'm dating myself here. The only way to get up the ladder at this big corporation was slowly but surely work your way up, and it really wasn't what I had in mind. I was thinking entrepreneur. So after 2 years, left Davison's, started to work with a gentleman in the original Underground Atlanta, which if any of y'all are here from Atlanta, it was a great place, working in gift and tourist stores. And we expanded, opened up some more stores. Again, I worked for this great guy, great entrepreneur, really knew what he was doing. After that, I was single, headed out to California, and got a job with an organ and piano retailer, musical instrument retailer. Pretty big operation. They were 2 stores, and they wanted to go to a 5-store behemoth, take over the music business out west. That's what I was hired to do. Again, got to work with some really great people, continued my education. Well, we did it. We built this huge collection of stores, so my work was done. I moved into consumer work, working with interior designers, customers, relocation people, and started 3 companies doing that. Sold all 3 of them at a profit, I'm proud to say, and came back to Atlanta and retired 7 years ago. Well, that didn't take long for me to get really bored, so I joined SCORE, which is the nonprofit end of the Small Business Administration. We were volunteers. We taught people how to do business. So, and I dealt again with a lot of retailers. I am now working with other retailers who heard about me or through friends and asked me to help them with their businesses. So retail is my thing. I feel your pain, I feel your joy. Okay, speaking of joy, I want to talk about something that is near and dear to my heart, and hopefully near and dear to y'all's: profit. Making money. That net bottom line. Now, I'm not going to dazzle y'all with PowerPoint presentations and show you charts and graphs and things like that. It's not going to do you any good. We're going to have a conversation. Of course, I'm going to do most of the talking. We're going to have a conversation about those things in your business that you have control over that affect your profit. We're not going to talk about the economy. We're not going to talk about gas prices. We're going to talk about the things that affect your business. Now, some of you have been in business for a while. Let me see a show of hands. How many of y'all have been in business, in your current business, for more than 3 years? More than 3 years. Okay, we got a little more than half of you. Great, okay. Another question for you. How many of y'all have a point of sale system, POS system? Okay, about a third of you. Okay, great. There's basically 3 areas of your business, excuse me, that you have control over. The first one is your operational expenses, the cost of doing your business. Second thing is your inventory. You got a lot of money tied up in it, most of you. And the third is sales, selling. So we're going to go over these 3 areas. I want to start with operational expenses. Now it's a brand new year. 2010's over with. Sorry. When you all get home, and please do this now, we got a brand new year. It's January. A lot of y'all aren't that busy right now. We're in the slow period. We got some things coming up, but right now is the time when you leave here. You're going to get a lot of information. You're going to get a lot of things to do. This is the time to do it. When you go home, pull your profit and loss statement from 2010. You should about have it done. If you don't, you got it close. Look at your expenses, the fixed and variable expenses on that list. They're in alphabetical order. You can't miss them. I want you to start at the top and look at every single one of them with a goal in mind. I'm going to reduce my expenses by 10% this year. It's doable, not that much. Now you got fixed expenses, you got variable expenses. Fixed ones are, of course, like your rent. You pay the same thing every month. Your variable expenses are gasoline, sometimes telephone, the things that vary from one to another. Whether it's fixed expenses or it's variable expenses, look at what you've got on each one of them and figure out how can I reduce it. Let me give you an example. I guess most all of you all have in your buildings an alarm system, right? Everybody's got an alarm system? Most of you? You pay for monitoring. And you might pay, as a retail person, $24.95 a month. You may have heard or have seen all kinds of ads for we'll monitor you for $19.95, but you haven't done anything about it. Pick up the phone and call the company that you have right now and say, hi, I've been with you for a couple of years. I'm paying $22.95 for monitoring. I know that I can get monitoring for less. Before I go and change providers, I'd like to ask you if you'd match their price. They'll put you on hold, and then they'll come back and they'll go, Ms. Jones, you've been a great customer. We'll be happy to do that. One phone call, you just save $5. That's 60 bucks in a year. If you will go down the list, you can peck away at your expenses. I know you're busy, but I have a client who did this for 2010. She called every one of them. She called her credit card people. She called her bank. She called everybody and said, I got this letter. Y'all are going to increase my rates. What can we do about this? And she reduced her yearly expenses for 2010 by $2,400 by making phone calls for 2 days. Not bad. So look at your expenses, go ahead and bite the bullet and make the calls. Now you may think, well, this is a heck of a lot of time. Whoever else that you have working for you, your partner, your key employee, your husband, your wife, take the list and split it up. There's one of you who maybe has a relationship with one of the companies. Let them call. But call everybody. Call your insurance agent. If you have business insurance, call them up and say, I need to be shopping around here. Look at my rates. What can we do to reduce these costs? My wife's business did this last year. They cut her insurance by $400 for the year. It was one phone call. Call me back, see what you can do. So do it. Do it. Keep in mind that if you reduce your expenses, it's literally pure profit for you. You don't have to sell a thing or stock a thing if you reduce your expenses. So critical. Please try and do that.